Hi, this is Lady from Keep Unfrozen. This last month I've experienced a couple of bereavements, family members, a really good friend and an elder in our church, and saying goodbye to someone also who is still present, still living, but because of their mental state is no longer the same person that I knew. So a lot of different feelings on how to say goodbye and how to say goodbye, effectively, and what it does, how it changes our viewpoint on life. And each time, I think it just adjusts things for us. It makes us more aware of how precious life is. And though we're looking forward to the next stage and being with God and those that go with Him, it's just a great comfort to know that that is where they are and that we will see them again. But in the meantime, we are left here. And my heart goes out to my friends, to Sarah, who's been left behind, to her daughters and all the family in the shock of the death of Guy Salmon. The detail, a bit more detail in that is in my blog, but I really just wanted to talk about the feelings that are left and how we move on and forward when we are affected by bereavement, whether it's someone who's very close to us, whether it's a bit more distance, or whether it's somebody we just know or know of. Each time it makes us wonder. It makes us wonder about our relationship with God. It makes us wonder about the relationship with the person who's just gone. And it leaves us thinking, how do we say goodbye? How do we say goodbye well, so that we can retain the best of what that person meant to us, the memories, and also the difference that they made in our lives. It also goes back to reflecting a little bit about what difference do we make to others. What are we doing in our lives which really makes us stand out to say that we lived a life worth living? What do you think? Where do you think you are in your continuum of what you do, how you choose to live your life, and the effect that you're having on other people and how they live their lives? Is it honouring to God? Is it worshipping God? Does it have God in it at all? These are many, many questions. There's a really good poem by somebody I met at a workshop. His name was Gerald H. Torby, and he wrote a poem called The Dash. And I've put this in a link for you. But basically he was saying that when he sees a gravestone and it has the name, the date of the birth, a dash, and the date of the death, he wonders what that dash represents. Because in that dash was the living life of that person. So his ending of his poem says, I thought that while looking on that stone, the names, the dates, the dash that's shown, what impact will my work, the sum, will eternity be richer when my life is done? Longer poem than that, it's worth a read. Check it out on the link. Meanwhile, there's lots of goodbyes in the Bible. I mean, there's goodbyes right from the beginning in Genesis. Well, there's a goodbye when you think of Adam and Eve leaving Eden. They had to say goodbye to their relationship that was so full on with God to a very different kind of life, and the grief that must have given them. But in Genesis, Laban has to challenge Jacob because he left and he took all the daughters and the families. And when Laban met up with him, he said, you didn't even give me time to kiss my grandchildren and my daughters goodbye. I mean, that shows just how important a goodbye is. That time to say goodbye. And that all comes for us with funeral arrangements. And it's our way of celebrating a life but saying goodbye. Ruth and Naomi and Orpah, they all had to say goodbye to each other. In that story, Orpah and Ruth were daughter-in-laws of Naomi. And when Naomi decided to go back to her family, she wanted both of the daughter-in-laws to stay behind at one point. I mean, Ruth said no. She clung to Naomi and said, no, I am going to come with you. Your people are my people. But Orpah, she made a different choice, and she went back to the other lands, and so she had to say goodbye. A goodbye changes life. It makes a direction of a change, and life will never be the same after that, for good or for ill. When we think about Elisha, he begged Elijah so he could go and say goodbye to his mother and father before he joined Elijah. So again, it was important. Jesus tried to say goodbye to the disciples. He tried to prepare them for his death. I mean, they didn't quite understand until afterwards, but that's what the Last Supper was about. And in fact, that's what the prayers in the Garden of Gethsemane was about, was Jesus saying his goodbyes in this present time, in the present way, because we know when he comes back, things are going to change. There won't be grief, and there won't be hurt, and there won't be suffering, etc. But for the time being, we are in that place. So how do we make sure our lives are worthwhile? How do we make sure that our goodbyes to others, or for them to us, also are worthwhile? Some questions to ponder. Let me know what do you think. Really would like to know. Lady AD, keep unfrozen.